Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. Right, to get into it, military officials, Israel preparing for potential strikes against Iran nuclear facilities. On top of this, we are actually going to talk about some other things, including the drones. We're going to update you on that. I'm actually going to fact check some of the fact checkers because I think that a lot of people are confused about what is going on here. And I'll show you evidence of that here in just a minute. But another thing, moving forward with, of course, all of the World War III kind of updates here, Israeli Air Force is continuing its readiness and preparations for potential strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities, following the weakening of Tehran's proxy groups in the Middle East and the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, which most believe at this point, if they have any brain cells in their head, was some sort of Western op, right? Or at least helped or allowed by. The military believes that an isolated Iran may push further with its nuclear program due to the dramatic changes in the Middle East, especially the fall of Assad, which allowed the IAF to take out the vast majority of Syria's air defenses. The Israeli military believes there is now an opportunity to strike Iran's nuclear sites. So did they actually take out Syria because there was some sort of defensive part to that? Obviously there was, but was there something that they needed to take out first before they did this? Kind of looks like that is the image that they're having. They're painting the picture that if Iran is isolated or doesn't have the help of Syria, that they're much weaker. That looks like to be the case. So is this strategy for really going after Iran's nuclear facilities? That is a big red line for not only Iran, but the people that they just signed all of these treaties with, including Russia and I believe China. So we'll talk about that tonight and much, much more. We have updates. We have some crazy videos to show you here in a minute. So stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right. What is happening? Hey, thank you everybody that made it here tonight. Again, there is still no DLive, Rumble, and X yet, so we'll be giving you updates on that this weekend as well. But to go over some of the other stuff, we'll, of course, have sources over on marfooglenews.com. You can find every single article, tweet, video, picture, document on East Coast invasion, ? Mothership, are we being invaded? Of course, make sure to go check that out. You'll have the full source list and bibliography for every tweet there as well. There's a lot of tweets today, so make sure you know that that is all available on your at your fingertips. All right, and then finally, the chat works now that now the chat is working, so that's awesome, actually. So great. Nice to see you. Everybody, make sure to thank your mods by dropping an M in the chat. And let's get into it. Let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
So let's see here. So let's talk about, well, first of all, they're talking about taking out Iran's nuclear sites. But now NATO is actually talking about that we are not ready for what is coming. Do you want to go over that?
Well, yeah, certainly. I think every grasp they get to expand or try to expand this coming potential war with NATO and Russia. But the head of NATO has warned. He has put out a warning to the alliance that they must gear up for war or its members will flounder in the face of Russian aggression. So that's coming from Mark Rutte, NATO Secretary General, harked back to the Cold War days, where the countries cranked up defense spending to over 3% of their GDP. He said, "We are still spending far less than during the Cold War, even though the threats of our freedom and security are just as big, if not bigger." He insisted that the current pledge of 2% in each country is simply not enough to keep Russia at bay. Russia is preparing for a long-term confrontation with Ukraine and with us, with NATO. We are not ready for what is coming our way, even in 4 or 5 years. So he's putting a time frame in there. But at the same time, I think, as we've seen, they've been trying to escalate this as quickly as possible.
And we've been calling, this community has looked at this. A lot of us that have told our friends and family members that a war is coming, a lot of them look at us like, oh, we're crazy, or they'll believe it one week and then they won't, depending on what the MSM is saying. If you still believe in what the MSM is saying, then I don't know what to say. I mean, if you look at right now, yet another scandal has popped up, even with the same woman with CNN, if you haven't been following that. Basically, everybody is calling out this video that appears to be totally staged. Again, it could be totally real, but again, of this woman, the same woman who pretended she had, bombs flying overhead, now letting somebody out of a jail in Syria. So again, I'll direct you guys to that video. You can go watch it for yourself, but everybody is making fun of it because of how bad that video is. How are they getting exclusives? They're right in the ground. There was a prison with everybody that was let out except for one guy. It just didn't make sense. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll attach it and I will make sure that Dex gets it for the website. Dex, I don't know, you heard about that, right? As far as the Syria prison and the one guy left with perfectly manicured nails and super
It sounds too perfect to me.
Oh,
I'll see if I can find it and put it on the website.
So, first of all, if you're still believing the MSM, then I don't know what to say. But again, they have this roller coaster of when they have people alarmed and when they don't. Meanwhile, when the really big things do happen, we are completely caught off guard. When CV happened, the majority of people did not know it was even coming. And again, that's probably because if we look back at it, it was like a lot of this stuff was kind of manufactured on the moment, right? A lot of things were changed by the minute. And that's what they can do again and again and again. Especially now, the entire world has gotten down kind of a system where if they need to, they can basically put us all in our houses and they will understand which people will listen and which people won't. And if you didn't, you're probably on some sort of list. But right now, they're saying that, that nobody is ready for the war. And I believe this, as far as nobody is ready for what's coming. They want a war. There's going to be people that massively profit from this. This is going to be a change in the world where they can quickly enact almost all of the changes that they've been talking about. And they're saying, over 10 years we'll get this done, or over 15. They'll be able to get it done in 2 years or less if we have a massive war. Not to mention it will hit kind of some of those other check boxes like reducing the people on the planet. But the head of NATO has warned the alliance must gear up for war or its members will flounder in the face of Russian aggression. Mark Rutte, NATO's Secretary General, harked back to the Cold War days when countries cranked up defense spending to over 3% of GDP, which again, just to remind you, it's 2% now, but not even all of the countries actually pay that. In fact, it's not enforced. So many countries are not even paying 1%. It says we are still spending far less than during the Cold War, even though the threats to our freedom and security are just as big, if not bigger, Rutte said. He insisted that the current pledge of 2% in each country is simply not enough to keep Russia at bay. Russia is preparing for long-term confrontation with Ukraine and with us. And this is the point. The Ukraine is not the only goal anymore because now people have pushed too many buttons. Now all of our adversaries are getting ready to take people off of their pedestals. He said he made the ominous promise that we are not ready for what is coming our way in 4 or 5 years. And they keep saying that they give you a time frame. They say in 4 or 5 years. Remember, 1 day is all it takes to kick these things off. They mentally prepare you for something that's coming way sooner. And then they tell you, oh, but don't worry, it's a couple years down the road. Everyone, if they can mentally kick the can down the street, think about how many people look at, well, oh, I don't have to deal with that for another week, or I'll deal with that next month. Basically, people procrastinate in even worrying about things. With this, they know this. So they'll tell you it's 2027 or 2028. And then in your brain, you go, oh, it's down the road. We'll deal with that when we come to it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, right? But that is not the prepper mindset. Again, all of us have been looking at this for years. We understand that it takes months to plan a wedding. You think about a world takeover. Think about restructuring the entire world government. I'm pretty sure it takes decades, and that's exactly what has been in the works. It's clear to us. It's very obvious. So I think that it's very, very enlightening to see what they're saying and what they're covering, and the difference of kind of what people are preparing for in government and in military compared to civilians who essentially think that somebody's going to come and save them when all of this stuff goes down. And then Ukraine sent drones and operators to HTS before the offensive that ousted Assad. Dex, do you want to go over this real quick?
Sure. Ukraine intelligence had provided HTS with direct drone support in the weeks leading up to the offensive that overthrew Assad. Ukrainian intelligence sent about 20 experienced drone operators and about 150 first-person view drones, FPV drones, to the rebel headquarters in El Dalib, Syria, 4 to 5 weeks ago in preparation for this. So there's a lot that has been going on. There's a lot of prep, and it was so much prep that Ukraine was working on it a month ago to help overthrow Assad in Syria with the HTS. So Ukrainian officials had previously openly boasted that they would assist in hitting Russian assets and bases in Syria in order to bog its forces down there and distract the top Russian command from the Ukrainian front line. Small drone warfare has been said by many analysts to be the key component, further demoralizing the Syrian army positions after Assad's military and state institutions had been essentially hollowed out after years of grinding war and crippling Western sanctions. So, again, this also brings to the point that what we've seen with the change in warfare, especially with the front in Ukraine with Russia and the advancement of drone technology, it's not just a unique and acute issue there. It's obviously the change that's going to be happening on every battlefield out there. And as we see here, the tried and true, so to speak, drones that Ukraine was using to thwart Russia in their battles were easily just shipped down to the HTS group in Syria, and were able to use them directly against Assad. So that's another big, change or shift that we've seen in the warfare front over the last 10 years.
Well, so are people also not connecting the dots on this? I don't know if you watched the show the last week or so, but I was specifically talking about when we sent, in fact, I know what show that's in. When they talked about the $1 billion that they were sending, I said, well, what about that $350 million or whatever that they procured for them before? That was before the Syria takeover. And I said, every time you see that they send $1 billion somewhere, think about that could be used to do a regime change. I mean, that money could literally be sent to one person, and then they end up using that, resend that money through to other people. Dex, remember you talked about possibly Black Project or the, what do they call it, the funds that are completely off the books, right? Black projects.
The dark projects or black projects.
Yeah, the money that just goes out the door. Well, think about this. The $1 billion we just sent, that's $1 billion that they publicly have to explain. They go, oh, $1 billion is leaving the bank. Well, they say it's going to Ukraine, right? Again, a lot of people have, pointed out that not a lot of that has gone to where they think it's going, or they believe that a lot of it's being funneled other places. 9 people under Zelensky actually stepped down because a lot of people were wondering how they got supercars and super mansions when, their salary is like $80,000 American dollars a year, or, I think it was $8,000 American, but whatever it was. It's like, how do they get supercars? Well, because that money is being funneled. Well, I said specifically, what if all of these groups Because remember, CNN, this guy got on there, this revolutionary says, well, what changed? How are you able to do this now? Well, all these groups came together. Well, that's because they're literally being paid. In my mind, or in my opinion, all of these different groups, they got a check. They got a check. And where did that check come from? I said, what if the money that we saw weeks ago, that $350 million, what if that was sent somewhere and then funneled through to all of these different groups? And now what do we find out? Look at this. It's saying that Ukraine directly sent not only drones, but drone operators to HTS. HTS is the group that supposedly has 5,000 to 10,000 members that guy heads up. The guy that's a revolutionary that used to be, Al-Qaeda, and he used to be al-Nusra and the Nusra Front and all of that. It's like, are people just like slow? I mean, this is super obvious. Now they're telling us that Ukraine, we're supposed to be helping them. Why are they giving stuff to other countries? Now they're helping other countries? This doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you guys? I'm very, very confused. Dex, think about that. We're pissed off about us sending money there, and now they feel generous. So they're like, hey, let's give HTS some stuff.
Yeah, they obviously have way too much. They don't need any more help from us if they're able to give their equipment away to other countries to fight their own conflicts.
Yeah, what about their fight with Russia? Did you forget about that? I'm super confused. And they think they can just put this out, and people read this and go, oh, that's so good, because they took out. And the general population is supposed to see all of these stories about these, hungry people getting released from the prisons and how, they liberated this place. Mind you, the dictator that came before, Assad, yeah, bad guy. But are they replacing it with a better? I mean, is there a lesser of two evils when you're talking about a literal guy who is the leader of a group that walks into a school with a chest full of, boom booms and goes, ah! I mean, this is insanity. It's not like they're putting in a democratic system or something. They're putting in a different leader of a different, what's going to be a different dictatorship, and that they're going to pretend it's not. But again, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Let me know. But that's exactly what I said. I said with the $1 billion, I said, well, what about that previous payment? What if that payment, think about that. That's an actual transfer of money. That means money's going out. That's an opportunity for that money to pay different groups and be like, hey, do this operation. $100 million to this group, $50 million to that group, promises of weapons and $20 million to this group. And then all of a sudden, in 11 days, they were able to take over the frickin' place. And around the same time frame, they were loading up HTS with all this gear. I'm sorry. I don't see how people can't figure this out. But again, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield with all of the craziness going on and with all of these. Frankly, there's bad guys pretty much everywhere. It doesn't matter where you look. If you want to protect yourself against not only an EMP strike, but also a Carrington-level event from the sun, then I would highly recommend getting yourself into an EMP shield. This is a device you can easily wire into your cars, trucks, motorcycles, or boats, even your generators, your gas, or even your home, and it will protect it against all three lightning, EMP, and CMEs. So again, go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. You're going to save $50 off per device on top of any sale that they're doing. So if they run Black Fridays or Valentine's Day sales or whatever it may be, you'll always get that on top of that. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. At the same time, with that code MARF, you will also be helping our channel. We're on our own. We're trying to say the things that they don't want us to say, so it is much appreciated when you guys support. But mostly, please just share our stuff out. Make sure to get us into somebody's household that we weren't before, because they are not trying to have us recommended. So thank you guys. marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, that's the difference of you driving home to your family or being stuck wherever you're at, or being stuck at home when you're trying to bug out, and being able to get the heck out of there. All right, and then satellite footage reveals Iranian mothership drone carrier exists, just not near New Jersey. Now, I want to point out the general consensus. People feel really smart. In fact, in this actual article, there's a YouTube video where I saw at least a few other people see the same point that I have made, which is basically talking about how they're talking about two different things. People are saying mothership, and they said the congressman, which again, he could totally be part of the propaganda and that they're totally full of crap. But why would he, if it's so easily disproven, say there was a mothership that took off a month ago and it would be off of our East Coast, when somebody on Twitter can, somebody like Tanker Tracker, whatever his name is, track and go, well, no, there's nothing off the East Coast. In fact, there's 2 Iranian drones, but they're off of Iran. And these are drone carriers. So first of all, what they're actually showing you in the pictures that say, oh, well, these are their drone carriers. Those are their carriers, period. They don't have just dedicated drone carriers. When you think of drone carriers, you actually think of China actually has a drone carrier. And we're talking about a carrier that can run autonomously, not only the ship, but then can also deploy autonomously drones off of it. China has that. Iran, I do not believe, has it. They have a jimmy-rigged container ship carrier and then a kind of snub-nose carrier that they have in their arsenal. They only have 2 ships. But that's not what I think he is talking about. So in the thumbnail, I pointed out, so that next on the left, most people would call that a drone or like a predator drone, a flying drone. That is one of China's new examples of their mothership drones, and that can actually release smaller drones. What they're pointing out, and what a lot of people are kind of uppity saying is, because they found this tweet saying, oh no, this is where they're at. Everybody's very, very confident that, no, this isn't where it's at. You can see it, and I believe a Twitter over something else. I'm not saying the tweet guy, by the way, we've used a lot. That's a great account. I bet he is accurate on where those carriers are. But I don't think that disproves that there is a mothership drone thing. And again, this could all turn out to be total propaganda and that they were trying to, fool us and make us pointed at Iran. But I look at it like, is there a chance there still is? And absolutely. I don't think that this is a debunk. I think they're pointing out 2 drone carriers. They point out the video that he says, mothership. And then they go, but Iran's carriers are off of the water. He's not saying drone carrier. He's saying drone mothership. They are 2 different things now. And the reason why we can't fathom this is because we haven't really seen this technology before. In fact, most people haven't. Most people have not seen this. Again, I'll go to the original here, but you'll see they're saying that the actual motherships exist, yeah, but they're not there. But they're not talking about a mothership. They're talking about drone carriers and carriers. See, this is what it's saying. And then they post this video. So this is the 2 different kinds of ships that they're talking about. They're talking about this carrier that Iran has, and then this, which you'll probably recognize is straight up their carrier thing. Their third one, which they did have 3, I covered when Iran was actually sending it from Iran to, I think, Brazil or South America, something. I want to say Venezuela, maybe. But they were halfway through, and it sank, and it had this huge issue. I don't know if that was the third or if that's this one and they fixed it. But a lot of people even accuse the U.S. of destroying that or having a hand in that sinking or the damage to it. So they're talking about that. Now, you would say, well, if they don't have that, why would they have a mothership or a drone carrier or a drone mothership like what's on the thumbnail? Well, that's why China comes in. They don't have this kind of technology. They haven't designed this kind of technology. But it does not rule out that these are drones that take off from another drone and then have some sort of way to refuel. That's what they don't know. He's saying, he also says in that video, he doesn't say from his sources in naval intelligence. He says his sources in travel and in aviation. Aviation's not going to be the expert on this. So from the actual statement from that congressman, which could totally be part of an op, it does not disprove it. And a lot of people are doing videos saying, no, 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 look at their carriers are over here. They don't have just a fleet of drones that we know of. So yeah, it doesn't matter where their carriers are or their drone carriers. He never says drone carriers once in that clip. He says mothership. So again, whatever's happening in New Jersey, I have been the biggest one to say, like, I think, most people are seeing planes. But after seeing, these are car-sized drones, Dex. Like, these are big, big drones. But they also now, from what we've covered, we have seen that they now have this technology, which most people don't even know about, is the ability to launch literally a missile that opens up into a helicopter. Some of them are even single use. Some of them are larger than a car, and they can all be carried by a mothership drone that China just made. Is China sharing this technology with Iran? Is it really China and they don't want to admit it? What the heck is actually going on? What do you think, Dex?
Well, and did you say earlier that some people were just trying to debunk this by saying they're looking at the tracking and they don't see any Iranian ships off our coast? Or is that what they were saying?
Yeah, they said that these
Well,
are somewhere else, right?
yeah, so it doesn't and that's the thing. It doesn't even have to be an Iranian ship to be part of China or part of Iran. It can be flagged from another country in a cargo ship that could be in disguise. And it can also be a ship that it doesn't even have its transponder on. It can turn it on and off whenever it's in operation or not in operation to, hide from we've seen that numerous times. That happens all the time, especially in the Baltics. They go through and they run covertly, trying to avoid the shipping of goods and get around sanctions. So that's all possible too. But yeah, the whole notion of a mothership doesn't have to be on the water. It can be in the air, and it can be from the water to the air and from the air into multiple drones below that. We know that China has the capability of doing it. They're the ones who would have it. They're partnered with Iran. That's where I would look first. If we see that something is going on and it's adversarial, it's more than likely backed by China.
And my only point, and this is Zero Hedge. I really respect Zero Hedge. We don't know who wrote this one because it is a Tyler Durden, right? But I'm surprised Zero Hedge is not catching this, because they're basically saying, well, yeah, these things exist. They are naturally not trying to believe anything that the media is saying either. So I respect that. But I'm surprised that nobody is putting in the caveat that he never says drone carrier once. He says mothership. I've watched that clip. He's not even talking about a ship. He's talking about a mothership as a word. The only time we've seen this, and I think it's very, very convenient and very coincidental, that just recently in December, early December, or maybe late November, they tell us about the Chinese mothership technology, that a big drone can take up to 10 tons and that can release smaller drones. That to me, and that the fact that they said that they now have a stealth covering that can virtually make it invisible, an invisibility cloak for their aircraft that both of our main radars cannot see. Dex, go ahead.
Well, I think before the congressman made this statement, most people would have never put the word drone and Iranian and ship all together. At best, they thought they might have drones flying, off of land, and that was about the extent of it. So, but what at least this Tyler Durden article is doing is it's sort of bringing light to the fact that for those naysayers that said, well, Iran doesn't have that kind of technology, they actually do, because they have converted these tankers and converted these cargo carriers into aircraft carriers or warships or whatever you want to call them. And some of these conversions, the two that they're calling out, have been done to carry drones and to be bases for drones to launch from. So technically, I applaud them a little bit for saying, yeah, look, this is, they do have this capability. And most people sort of poo-pooed it and said Iran doesn't have that when they actually do. The question is it off our coast? I doubt that it's going to be those particular ships, because we probably follow those around all day long with satellites. It's more than likely one of the millions of ships that's going around that you don't know because it's a cargo ship or some other lesser, important ship when it comes to tracking this type of activity.
It could be a different flagship if they're trying to, if also a 3-letter agency could totally be doing some sort of Fantastic Freddy and have an Iranian flagged ship do something horrible with these drones, right? After everybody makes sure that everybody is paying attention to them, now the whole world is looking at this whole New Jersey drone thing. Then all of a sudden, one of these things drops a glass beaker or something and goes. All of a sudden, we're at war with Iran and Russia and everybody else. One day is all it takes to change this stuff. So I'm just pointing out, I'm surprised and then when people do feel like they've seen somebody else say something, they go, well, that makes sense. Then they kind of uppity go, I have the answer now because somebody else, I feel like they make a lot of sense. So now I'm going to be, telling everybody else they're idiots when you're not even asking the basic questions. That's why you have to ask your own questions too. You have to look at everything yourself. You can't just go, oh, well, this guy said this and then believe it. Ask questions, go through and test it just like you would in a science experiment. Well, okay, what about this, this, and this? And then compare. Words are important. You have to compare the actual words. So I think there is definitely something super spooky going on. After talking to the people that are in New Jersey, this is really, really scary to some of these people. It's really freaky. These are big drones, and they're admitting that they know about it. They're saying they don't know what it is, but I bet they do. I bet it's either them or it's somebody else. And they've kind of given us a little bit of this. How would he even say that if it was top secret? How would he say that without getting in trouble? I don't know. Something is totally off with this whole frickin' thing. It stinks to high heavens. All right, and then thank you, Kenny Crowder. Thank you for your support this week. Nathaniel Williams. Appreciate that. It says, tuning in at work. It's slow tonight on the night shift. Nathaniel, thank you so much for supporting. Thank you for supporting Independent. And again, Nathaniel Williams, I hope you have a good night at work tonight. Love y'all. Stay salty. Head on a swivel. Stephen McMahon, thank you. I believe you're probably going to work too. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for supporting us. All right. And thank you, Twinkie. Thank you, This War. It's all conspiracy and guesstimation. Cultured Hillbilly, nice to see you. What is happening, Ulster Rents? We've got a lot of new names. Thank you. I was going to see, maybe we can do another one with all of the chat. That would actually be really cool. Okay, hold on. And sorry, you guys, this is all new since we don't have Restream now. Let's see here. All right, then we have one with the chat on it. All right, and then probably remove that one. Okay. By the way, thank you everybody that has tuned in already. Make sure to thank your mods. Go over to marfooglenews.com/friends. Fermi's Paradox, See Here Think, thank you. Smoke and Swamp Outdoors, Space Monkey, Fives Out, What is happening? Ruthie, The Real Ostuo, nice to see you, a long-time Foogle fam. Anita Hark, late but made it. Well, that's totally fine. O-H-I-O. What's going on, Ohio? We have Tracy Q, thank you, mods. Hey, thank you. Halsey, what's going on? Dude was bang bang in a plane. I don't know. Or if you're talking about this morning. And then Rip, we aren't. What's going on? Hey, Rip Curl is in the house. Woodinville, Washington. We have Greg Bryson, Go Blue. Flavors Forest, what's happening? Tyges NZ and Justin Bram. Thank you. Nummy Nummy. I love it. Some of the screen names here get me. All right. What do you guys think it is? And do you guys get my point on the whole thing? And then now this is somewhat breaking. And just a reminder, this is actually, do we have the tweet? This is from Roz. Now, funny enough, Roz Alerts has been actually tweeting out all week, like basically making fun of people, or not even making fun, but also saying like, hey, breaking. People are seeing planes and they're sending me tons and tons of pictures of planes and saying that they're drones. So he's getting irritated saying that essentially all these people are sending him videos of planes and stating that they're drones. So he's done several of those this week. Well, now he says that numerous people reporting at least 10 to 20 possible large drones hovering over LaGuardia Airport. And people are like, it's over an airport, it's probably planes. Well, again, people go, oh, those are planes, dummy, to him. But he is actually reporting this correctly, because that is exactly what is happening. People are reporting it. Now, there could be drones. The thing is if you are in person and you're videotaping something, somebody watching a clip, especially off a cell phone clip, could be like, oh, that's a plane, dummy. But if in person you can see it's not moving, it's perfectly still, and it's hovering and you can hear it, then yeah, you're going to go, no, it really is. And people won't believe you because it does. They're going to go, oh, it looks like a plane to me, because that's what red dots look like on a cell phone. But at this point, a lot of people are reporting this, and these are people that live near LaGuardia Airport. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense that these people that live near an airport would report this if it is just the normal stuff. But at the same time, it is also taking up their 911 calls and overwhelming their system. So all of these people calling 911 are actually overwhelming their system. You can see here basically, like, you know, people basically gave him crap for it, but he's actually reporting this correctly. He is just telling you that people are reporting it. And if that is true, we very well could have stuff over LaGuardia. Dex, what do you think about this?
Well, it's not just Roz; it's also New York Daily News that's reported this, and we're the New York CEM, probably the New York City Emergency Management Department, has posted about it, saying that they're monitoring the situation and working with relevant agencies. They don't have any confirmations yet, but they're aware of the reports of them flying over LaGuardia. Others have suggested that some of it started in the Bronx and worked its way around, and that the drones would zoom off when police would arrive on the scenes. And police radio chatter indicated reports of numerous other drone sightings at locations in Far Rockaway, the Bronx, Staten Island, as well on Thursday night. So LaGuardia and all these other locations are seeing the same thing happening. And none of this is confirmed yet. Like, they have officially said they've seen drones there, but you're getting all of these different reports, including the fact that the drones are actually taking off when police arrive in specific areas where they're being seen.
Yeah, and the other kind of in the back of everybody's head, people are wondering, like, what if we do have some sort of event where all of a sudden you have drones over every major city? That is something that people have, you know, spoke about being afraid of all of a sudden we see this all across the country. That's kind of what they're painting a picture of. But is that the truth, or is this something that's just a big distraction? Dex, go ahead.
Well, what if this is people putting drones up to look at the drones, and before you know it, you got more drones? And it's really, there's some legitimate drones that are really just people looking to try to see what they can capture. That's another thought I had.
Yeah, and with big commercial drones that regular people can't own, like the DJI Inspire, that thing is this big. I mean, it's giant. It's a giant drone. A lot of people have them. They're about $5, $6, $7 grand, up to 10 grand, but a lot of people have them. So are people seeing those and thinking, oh my gosh, this is an alien or Iran? Don't know. One just came flying right up to the window. I'm terrified. That's pretty good. But again, I think that half of the people are probably confusing planes for these things. But then again, if you live by this area, like if I go to SeaTac and I see things taking off and landing, I'm not going to think, oh, there's drones. Unless somebody is deceptive, trying to take a video of that and then deceive people to get views. But another thing is usually they're landing or they're taking off, and they should be in a straight line. Usually you don't see a what do you call it, a diamond of them. If you live by an airport, you'll know there's a whole line of planes, and for as long as you can see, there's planes that are landing, and then there's planes that are taking off. and they all have their different levels that they're at, but they're usually coming in and they're in kind of a highway right into the airport. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and then, by the way, we did find this. So this is another video, right? So let's see here. Let's go over to this. Let me put on here. So fair use in this bad boy here. Okay. So somebody is posting this video as well. Dex, is this the video I sent you, or is this is a different one, isn't it?
No, it's the one you sent me. It's the one on the left.
Well, I know, but is it a combination of that? Do you have the one that's just the
It's
single?
2 videos. They're both there, I think.
The start of it has it firing. So this is, I think this has to be different. Somebody captured it way later. So hold on, let me see if I can find the other one. Should be probably in the replies.
If you refresh, there's 2 videos on one tweet, and the left video is the one you're looking for.
Okay, let me see here. Okay, yeah, check this out. They're saying that one of these drones just fired something. And of course, that could easily be faked with software or whatever else, but is this actually legit? But it's actually a live fire exercise. Creepy, right? Well, Dex, do you want to talk about what we found? And the thing is I thought, is this in the same area? Somebody said it looked like it was Egypt. I'm assuming they're talking about a different Egypt than the actual Egypt, right?
Right. So what they're saying is there actually is live fire exercises happening in a specific area where this was in New Jersey. So some were saying it was New Egypt, New Jersey. Others are saying it's the MAFB training that was going on in that area. So you can see how this can easily get confused. Whether or not this is, real, if this is real video footage and it really happened in New Jersey tonight, then it kind of lines up with the fact that there was live fire training going on. And it could easily looks to me like if somebody told me that was live fire training, then it looks like a helicopter shooting some, small missiles out of it like they do. And that's kind of normal. And that's the suggestion that a lot of the people are saying is, hey, that's not drones shooting things in the sky.
So, and then everybody goes, it's debunked, dude. That's a live fire exercise. Okay, but one, with all of this madness going on, they're still going to do live fire exercises. I would think that they would cancel it. 2, has this been altered? Is there a Wayback Machine? Can you go back before? Now people are afraid to go to the Wayback Machine because of that big thing that happened with it. But can you see, did they change this recently? Was this altered at all? Because they could change this on the, after the fact. And just say it is a live fire exercise. Why would they not cancel it with all of the crazy sightings and all the stuff going on? I'm surprised. And this is literally in New Jersey. They say MAFB, excuse me. And they say it is live fire exercises. I don't know. What do you guys think? Immediately people go, oh, no, that's debunked. But it's basically debunking it, saying it's a live fire exercise. But couldn't that also be a cover? I mean, that's the other thing, is they always have these scheduled drills, and I've talked about this before, is where they always have something scheduled almost every day, every week. And at any given point, they can take a real event and change it into that and say, or drill for a different event and say, oh, well, we have this drill on the 16th. We'll just take that one, alter the scenario, and then if anybody asks, if media asks, oh, well, we've had this scheduled, for a year. But they can actually take any of the given regular things that they have scheduled and switch it around. Not saying that I think that this is a drone firing, because what is it firing at? Is there any point to it? But I guess I'm bugged by the debunks when immediately one little thing pops up and the whole internet then feels so confident, but nobody's really confident. Nobody's 1,000% on this. Nobody can believe anything at this point. You also can't just believe something and then act like 1,000% confident. Oh, it's this or that, because honestly, look at what's going on right now with the internet. Anybody can post up anything, and you just don't know what the hell is real or fake. But just like you can't trust anything is real, you can't 1,000% say something is fake. I guess that's my point. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, and just to confirm, the McGuire Air Force Base, or the joint base that they're describing for these exercises that are happening, is right next to New Egypt, New Jersey. And for those of you that want to know, it's just south of North Hanover and near another town north of Pemberton Township. So yes, in the middle of New Jersey is where this Air Force Base is, where these drills are taking place, live fire drills, and that is near New Egypt, which is where I guess they claimed these drones were at the time, which may not be drones when you look at it and you put all this together.
Yeah, it could be a what do you call it? It could be a Black Hawk helicopter or an Apache. It could be any number of things. Or it could be one of their versions of a drone. And you would think if they're live firing, why don't they go over a couple blocks and live fire and take one of these frickin' drones down? They're literally showing you they're in the neighborhood, they can fire at something. Why don't you fire and take down the stupid drone? Don't know.
I thought the governor, I think it was him or someone else, it was mayor or the governor, one of them said they would appreciate it if the military would come and take some of these down so they could get some resolution on it.
Well, they're a couple blocks away, live firing, which is pretty cool. It literally looks like not Starbucks, Star Wars. when at night when you fire weapons, I mean the tracers on the bullets are so cool. And then Carlton Sutton, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate that. Does a salt shaker super sticker? Thank you. Yes, always put sprinkle of salt on it. All right, and then pilot encountered mystery objects. So all of this happening at the same time, this is what makes me think op, right? The timing that they release all of these things. And I'm not sure, do you remember when this actual clip happened? Yesterday, this was all over X. Everybody's listening to this clip because it is an audio clip of essentially them talking to air traffic control and telling them we're seeing objects go up and down, and we're seeing at least 4 objects. He says, oh, it's crazy out here. Said unidentified lights while flying in Seattle Air Route Traffic Control Center on Saturday, December 7th. In the 44-minute recording, which was posted to social media, a United Airlines pilot flying over Willamette National Forest told Air Traffic Control, said, looking straight west to Eugene over Oregon, we're seeing 3 or 4 targets. They're all altitudes up and down. It's pretty crazy. United Airlines and liveatc.net, the website which hosted the recording, declined to comment. It says another pilot flying a medical evacuation plane over Stanislaus National Forest told the controller, just had another one show up at my 1 o'clock, about 1,000 feet high, zipping towards us and then back towards the ocean, red in color, moving at extreme speed. I just don't know how to describe it. The controller replied, Roger, you are clear to maneuver as necessary left and right to avoid the UFO out there. And all the reports you're giving us are good information. Appreciate it. The pilot later continued, says, it's weird. It's a red circular shape and it keeps zipping out towards the ocean and then coming back in about 20 miles or closer to us. And then it zips back out to the ocean and we can't see it. So I'm trying to see, is this, you know how this will be back from October or something, and then it will be released today. That's the kind of stuff that
7
I think
days
is fishy.
ago.
So this is a week ago.
This was Saturday, just this past Saturday is when it happened.
So that is weird. Usually it will be like, oh, this was taken in June of this year, and now they have released it. and it will be released the same week as all of the drama about the UFO stuff is going on. And then it's like, that's a distraction or an op. But I do think it's weird. This is recent, and it's over Oregon. It's over our coastlines. This is why I'm just keeping my head on a swivel, because we don't know what's actually going on here. The media can play roller coaster with our emotions, but I would still say stay calm and stay prepared, because who knows what the hell, what trick is going to come out of their sleeve next, if you guys get my meaning. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. But yeah, by one description, they're going up as high as a plane and then down low as a drone. The other is saying that it's swooping in and out from the ocean by Eugene. And essentially, the air traffic controller, if you hear them, they're saying, yeah, we're getting other reports. So is this a fake audio that's going through a legitimate kind of trail that usually releases these good things? Is it real audio, or is it fake? Is it an op? I don't know. And then Dex.
Well, it's as real as the FAA is confirming it. So as much as you want to trust or don't trust the FAA, that's the authority.
That's what I said. So it's legitimate source. It's a legitimate thing. Real pilots. Is it part of a op, or is it, what the hell is it? It is United Airlines though. So take that with a grain. Dex, knocking on our door. Experts warn of the bird cough threat.
So if the boogeyman from Africa doesn't get you, they got another one up their sleeve, and they're bringing back around this warning that the bird cough is the next endemic threat. So this is what health experts are saying. They are now sounding the alarms about the potential of this threat posed from the birds, which has been showing signs of mutating and spreading among cows and infecting people in the U.S. So they then sort of softball it and say there's no guarantee it will actually, ever begin transmitting between humans, but they still want to tell us that we need to be prepared for it. And I think this is rather interesting of the timing when you look at how they, prepositioned what's going on with X out of Africa. And with this, which has been around, and they just keep bringing it up when it's convenient. And it's convenient now because there's the change of the guard, so to speak. We've got the Don coming in. And, is this the way forward with the next phase to sort of cripple or do something against his administration? And will this, like we saw with the CV, will this end up being something else they bring to the table, so to speak, or fresh off of a tabletop, right?
Yeah, see, the whole thing is they're constantly going to put you in fear. They're constantly going to warn and scare you about something. But that's the thing. It will never end up being the thing that they warn you about. It will be something that sideswipes you. That's what I don't get is, and every time something like this happens, somebody freaks out and says, oh my gosh, and tells their friends and family, oh, you got to be, right now, a week from now, there's going to be this bird cough going around and you got to be careful. Then when it doesn't happen, those people will never listen to you again. So that's why I am very reserved, especially over the years. It's just like more and more, you just have to take everything with a grain of salt. You have to look at the patterns, what you think is really going to happen. Are they going to play the same playbook again with the cough type of thing? I don't know. If they did, I think the next time it might be real bad. Because the practice run is already out of the way. I think it will probably be like the W and the E and the F says, because I take what they say seriously because they scare the crap out of me. Klaus says that it will be a cyber attack, a cyber event that will knock out, the world. That's scary. They said it would be worse than CV, worse than 2019. Speaking of any kind of cough, highly recommend going through Jace and getting yourself a emergency medical kit. This is a very simple service. You actually talk to a board certified doctor through a telehealth appointment. It's a very short appointment, and you can get yourself all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics all in one kit. That kit, you can also add on things like fluconazole and even albuterol, like emergency breathers. So again, go check it out, marfuglenews.com/Jase, Jase, and make sure to use the code MARF. They also have a service called Jase Daily, which you might be able to get a 12-month supply, extended supply of your prescription meds. Now, we can all debate on who the big bad boogeyman is in the pharma and everything else, but having antibiotics, if you have a cut on your finger or something crazy that gets infected and you don't have a hospital or something to go to or a pharmacy, then these come in extremely, extremely handy. Go to marfuglenews.com/Jase, Jase, and make sure to use the code MARF. Again, emergency life-saving medications all in a kit. And it helps your favorite channel at the same time while getting a discount. All right, and then let's pop over to the chat. Thank you, BC, for subscribing. Nathaniel, again, thank you. Starin, thank you. Casey won't let me. Skibs. Worst case if car-sized drones release small drones in large swarms that can navigate streets, sidewalks, doors, and under cars. Have you guys seen some of the clips out there of Dex? Have you seen the clip of at least 20,000 drones in a swarm? And I don't even think it's anything negative. It might be for a light show, but they're doing it in the day. Have you seen the daytime shot of like 20,000 drones lining up in a wall? Have you seen that?
No, I've seen I've seen other much smaller numbers of that, like in some sort of concert or orchestration of things, but I've not seen that many.
So this, in the day, because it looks different in the day, they have all of these mats on the ground, and it's just thousands upon thousands of them. They all take off and they make this giant wall. And what is really freaky about that is each one of them, you look at the size of them, they all look about FPV's size, or about this big, a little bit smaller than a DJI bigger one, but like a Mavic Air or something like that. Each one of those packed with an explosive, those in swarms could take out an entire city. I mean, we're talking about think about if they have the information on every human being in a city. Say they have the information of every weapon owner in the city. They could then team that up with not only facial recognition, but maps and a 3D map of the city. They could take out every location where they know, according to our own information, where every person who owns Bang Bangs is, and then take out that person. That is the kind of technology they have now. And we're talking about mass production. They could make millions of these drones. They could take off, and the way that they made these walls, each one of those represents a person perishing. Think about that. One drone could take the top half of your body off. So these drone carriers, people are thinking about these bigger car-sized drones. That's more of like a weapon thing. That comment is great because it really does point out these small drones are what is really causing a havoc in Ukraine, because people are getting taken out and hunted. They can hunt you. China's, on the other hand, they are autonomous. They can do this autonomously. Think about this. You release those out in the battlefield, and if there are none of your soldiers out there, you could just tell it, whatever person you see, take out. And it would autonomously find somebody. They could even set it and program it, say, anybody in uniform, and then it will spot them and take them out. That's a very creepy thought. Good comment. And then thank you, and thank you to Ilea. Thank you, Bobby Sue. Thank you, guys. Rip Curl, thank you for modding and, of course, popping in and being here this week and in the last month. So thank you. Hopefully you guys can check out marfuglenews.com/friends as well. Also, thank you everybody that has supported this month on PayPal. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Chris S., Dixie, Karen, Joanna, Paula, Deborah, Dean G., Annalita. Thank you guys. And then make sure to go support our mods by going and subscribing. They all have an awesome, awesome channel, so make sure to go check them out. You also have friends like Jacob Israel and, of course, Justin True. Of course, you got Willing Witness and Alaska Prepper, all sorts of great people over there, so go check them out as well. Dex, thank you so much for your service today.
Much love. Great job, brother.
If you have a breaking story, make sure to email us, adam@marfooglenews.com or dex@marfooglenews.com. If you have tips, or you can go to our website, marfooglenews.com, and go up to, of course, contact. So, and play my video. You can actually upload your videos. If you have video of the actual drones, then let us know. I would love for you to turn in your own videos, and we'll show them here on the show. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. You'll be ported over. If you stay in chat, you'll be ported over to the other channel. Have a good night. If you're watching the replay, make sure to click up in the corner.